so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life? Well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, before we jump into today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a few sponsors that not only help to make it possible to produce this show 5 days a week, but that I'm also genuinely passionate about promoting, especially since they're helping to fund all the cool projects we have in the works, such as the Positive Head app, the docuseries that I'm intending to begin shooting within the next year, and whatever else we dream up over here at Positive Headquarters to help spread consciousness across the planet. Now, if you're short on time or just super excited for today's topic and want to dive right in and skip these ads, feel free to fast forward about
2.5 minutes
to get right into today's show. That being said, I strongly encourage you to listen because the reason I'm passionate about my sponsors is because they've made a huge impact in my own life, which is why I've aligned with these organizations. And I firmly believe they can do the same for you too. The first longtime stellar supporter of the show that I want to mention is Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online with over 8,000 video titles. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positive head. That's spelled GAIA.com/positive head. The second sponsor I'm extremely passionate about promoting is Purium. The reason I've aligned Positive Head with Purium is because I wholeheartedly stand behind their mission to end human suffering by making superfoods easily available to everyone, with the ultimate goal to help restore mankind's harmony with nature in the process. I mean, what a noble mission, right? It's no mystery that you need to bring your mind, body, and spirit into balance if a person truly intends to manifest the greatest and grandest version of themselves. And for me, for years, I honestly felt like I was ahead of the curve in the mind and spirit category, but I was only average at best in the level of care I administered to my body. Sure, I was healthy-ish when it came to the food I put into my system, but after doing a Purium 40-day transformation with a 10-day metabolic reset and cleanse, I can honestly say I have reestablished my relationship with food in a very positive way. Not only did I drop the extra weight that I was carrying as a natural byproduct of the transformation so that I'm now at my ideal body weight, but I continue to feel like my best self by starting every day with an organic Purium power shake that is made from raw superfood ingredients that were meticulously harvested, thoughtfully combined to optimize the nutritional impact it has on my body. I view the shake as plant medicine, really, and it happens to taste really delicious, and I can make it in about 30 seconds. There's actually 4 core Purium products that I take every day, and honestly, I intend to do so for the rest of my life for a very scientifically sound reason. And if you want to learn more about those reasons, you can go check out my video at positivehead.com/transformation, where I go into more detail. If you end up buying any of the Purium products, be sure and use the code POSITIVEHEAD, all one word, for a 25% discount. All right, all you positive heads, welcome to the show. So happy to be with you all as always. And always, here we grow again. And speaking of growing, I have the lovely Ima Rose here with me. Ima Navaya Rose. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I didn't butcher the middle one. Ima is here with me, my dear friend. We have spent the last few days together at the Purium Convention, which we're going to talk about a little bit, and some other things. And she was staying here, and I'm like, you've got to come co-host. And of course, she was gracious enough to do it. Ima, thank you for helping me to steer the ship today.
Yeah, what an honor it is. I'm feeling super blessed. We've had just a magical weekend together, and to end it off with this perfect cherry on top. Super stoked. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, it's been beautiful. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Ima, she was actually on the podcast a while back. We did a powwow episode 464, and I got so many people that reached out to me after that because you did the imaginal awakening guided meditation, essentially, which is how I was first exposed to your work. And I loved it so much. And then you came on the show, and I remember so many people afterwards like, oh my gosh, that was so powerful. So I recommend you guys going back and checking out episode 464. If you've ever heard me reference the journey of the caterpillar to the butterfly and how that happens, I learned all that from Ima, and she describes it way better than I ever could in episode 464 with a guided meditation. And since you are all caterpillars becoming butterflies, I highly recommend it. It is a good thing for all of us to do. Actually, I think I'm going to go back and revisit it now that I'm getting all amped up talking about it.
Yeah.
But so Ima has agreed to help me steer the ship today. We just spent the last few days. There was a Purium convention here, actually right near where I live in Anaheim. And so, it was just a bunch of people coming together with the common goal of helping to heal the planet with superfoods. And you guys have heard me talking about it for a while. You've heard, I have the little ad at the beginning of the show now, guiding any of you who are interested, to check out the videos that I've created, and all about the 40-day transformation. Some of you've heard me talking about that. And if you haven't, just go check out positivehead.com/transformation. And I won't go into all those things now. But what I did want to do is just share a minute about how exciting the community that is forming around healing, and for me, I wasn't quite sure what to expect going into the convention. I mean, I had an idea. Dave Sandoval has been on the show, the founder of Purium, and he truly is a magical soul. And he's been on, he was on before, and you can find that link as well on that page if you want to hear that. So I knew he was amazing. I knew you were amazing. I knew Tala and some of the others that I've had exposure to are really, really amazing. But coming and seeing the group that gathered and the intention, it was truly, for me, it was kind of like, and all the P-heads know I talk a lot about going to transformational festivals. You and I met at a transformational festival. It really is like a transformational festival with a sort of a purpose of bringing healing via superfoods, and creating this. There's this whole community. And as you guys know, anytime I go to a transformational festival or event or anything like that, a lot of times I come back so inspired and so high on life from whatever adventure or magic unfolded. And I always share my synchronicities and stories. And, I definitely had that sort of experience this weekend at the Purium convention. So I want to share some of that, like I always do. I was just so blown away by how amazing the people were, and it was like a festival with a purpose, and this whole process that people are using to not only heal themselves, heal people they know, but also create financial sovereignty for themselves in the process. And not everyone has gotten to that point, but that's their aim. And some have gotten way down that path, and others are new on the path. And it was just really, really inspiring for me to see some of the really young leaders stepping up. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about how things are unfolding on our planet with some of these new these new groups that are coming together, and specifically this one because it's my firsthand experience to help proliferate change. So what were some of your takeaways? I mean, as far as, we saw a lot of vulnerability, a lot of tears, a lot of community coming together and like new lifelong relationships being made, I feel like. What were some of your takeaways from it?
Yeah, I fully 100% agree with you. I have spent the last 12 years of my life really immersed in transformational festival culture and kind of coming more into like my seniority, as you would, in that culture. I've been finding there's a little bit of the sustainability issues and certain things that I've been coming up with in my own personal ethics that have drawn me a little bit away from it. But what I found within the Purium family is just like, oh, here is where all of the good that has been cultivated, the deep connection, the multidimensional transformation, the alignment of health and well-being and, spiritual connection, all of the things that I loved about transformational festival culture is now kind of being implemented and taken to the next level within this beautiful Purium family.
Yeah.
And I talk a lot about, as you were mentioning before, the imaginal awakening process and the transformation from the caterpillar to the butterfly. And part of that transformation when the imaginal cells are activating within the caterpillar body is there's this point where the imaginal cells awaken as individuals and for protection from the system, the immune system, they find groups and they clusters. And that's what I've been noticing with this is like, these are the foundation of the clusters.
I get excited, so sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off, but maybe you can just give the short version explanation of how the caterpillar transforms into the butterfly for no one who's heard this, because this is like such an inspiring story and process that I feel strongly is symbolic of what you listening, all of us, are going through as individuals and a collective.
Awesome.
And I'd love to.
Thanks for that invitation.
Yes, please.
Okay, beautiful. So when we think of like the caterpillar or caterpillar consciousness on like a global level, we think of these little inchworm creatures that are just kind of moving forward with one thing in mind. And that one thing is consumption. It just goes and all it knows how to do is to eat, consume. And it doesn't have any outside mindfulness of how its consumption is affecting its host plant. You see a flock of caterpillars and they all land on one tree. It will kill that tree for its own sustenance and its own...
Just destroying it, not with any self-awareness that...
Not whatsoever.
Screw the plant.
Screw the plant and screw the planet. In the past, and I say in the past because I definitely see that we are transitioning out of that phase on a global collective. There starts to become this awakening that happens. And that awakening comes from these imaginal cells that activate within, once the process of consumption, once this caterpillar's consumed all that it can.
It's fat and happy.
It starts awakening these imaginal cells. Imaginal cells have a completely different genetic code than the caterpillar DNA. These cells are carrying the butterfly DNA. And so the immune system, or the system, as you were, doesn't recognize these butterfly cells as part of its own.
When they pop up.
And so at the beginning, when they're popping up as individuals, the system will very quickly kill it off. However, with the magic, and we've seen that too in our past, mass kill-offs, witch trials, or genocide of the indigenous.
Oh, you invented free energy? You're going to disappear.
Exactly. There's so many reference points that we have in our history and her history, however you want to say it.
Her story.
Exactly. Of how this has been implemented. And moving forward, once these cells, they start through the power and magic of nature, they start activating at a higher and higher frequency. And so as they start activating at a higher and higher frequency, the system has a harder and harder time keeping them all squashed.
So they get stronger, essentially.
And they get stronger, and then they start to run into each other and bump into each other.
Like, hey, friend!
Exactly. And this is what I was referencing before, was like, once those cells start to bump into each other, they recognize their safety in numbers. And it's harder and harder for these systems to squash large movements. And so what I've been noticing in Purium is that point of culmination where we're starting to find each other. All of these little, I call them as imaginal beings, because we totally carry this different genetic sequence within us that we're bringing this light and understanding and evolution to the world. And so we're getting together in these conglomerates where we're each activating as individual
and a collective
cells within a collective. So in the caterpillar, these individual cells, they're still individual cells, but they work together and they join together for mutual safety, mutual purpose, and they start resonating at the same frequencies. And this is what I'm noticing in things like convention, where each of us, we're each operating our businesses as individuals, but we're gathering together for collective and mutual support and growth and evolution in ourselves personally through personal development, as well as collective, like financially, and within our own businesses as well. And our teams are growing, and there's so many like fractal points of reference within that. And so then in the caterpillar, what happens once all these individual cells get together as conglomerates, they create a harmonic resonance. And so they start all resonating at the same frequency. And so once there's enough of these conglomerates within the caterpillar resonating at their own unique frequencies, then there's this massive realization that happens. And the caterpillar has this sweeping like sense of, oh my God, I'm actually not a caterpillar. I'm
losing control.
Yeah. And then they start, this process starts from the head down. And so they start with the eyes, the way they start seeing the world, and those start going into the chrysalis. And then, that we start doing that, the way we see the world starts shifting. And then it goes down through the mouth, and how we start communicating starts changing. And, that connection, and then it starts going down further and further down into the body and down into the caterpillar's body, and so it goes into this state, this chrysalis state. And as it starts from the top, those cells that carry the caterpillar DNA, they start dying off. And there's a mass die-off. And what happens to these cells is once they die, the ones that are carrying the old genetics, the old DNA, once they start to die, they become goo. Basically, this like beautiful, nutritious soup. And then from there, all of the conglomerates of imaginal cells, they turn into like whole like organ systems, and like they know exactly what they're doing and what their purpose is in the greater butterfly whole. And so the infrastructure is still kind of there within the caterpillar system, and so the new conglomerates just move into this pre-existing infrastructure and create a new being, and then they start growing the wings.
Now I remember you talking about the goo as well becomes the fuel.
It does.
For these imaginal cells. So what I love about that symbolically is this whole idea that the pain and suffering that the caterpillar proliferated essentially becomes the fuel as it sort of expands into the next version of itself. That actually becomes the fuel that creates the resources for the butterfly. And I love that symbolically, like all of the pain and suffering that has happened to you in a sense is the fuel for you to become the butterfly that you're becoming as a human, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that's like such a super powerful symbolic and reference. And actually someone, who was it on the show recently? Someone explained the dragonfly is like really a similar.
Very similar. Yeah, they both work with imaginal cells. Yeah, dragonflies also have imaginal cells. Any morphic any morphic insect has these imaginal cells. I also think that we as humans have imaginal cells in our heart, and that's like totally different.
Well, this gets into like, you can go back and listen to the interview with Richard Rudd from who wrote the Gene Keys, and that's basically what he talks about. Is like in your DNA, there's dormant light encoded essentially that's waiting for you to put the right keys in the lock, and then you open this light that is in your DNA that turns you into this next version of yourself.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's our imaginal. Yeah, it's like it's incredible, really. So thank you for sharing that, and that's really what it felt like for me. Ima, it was like the first day of summer camp. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect exactly, but I got there, and the energy and the people and the love and the well-intention of coming together. And, I'm honestly not typically a big fan of like convention type stuff. It can be a little cheesy to me and a little just doesn't resonate, And what I loved, it wasn't there's some things I would do a little different. I would think anyone who witnesses any type of event thinks that. But for the most part, like I was, Dave Sandoval, who's the founder of Purium. I did an interview with him, episode 691. The guy's a rock star. Like he truly was so inspiring on stage, sharing the knowledge and wisdom that this guy has about plants and how to proliferate healing on our planet. And when there's so much information out there, like that is my guy. Like I trust him. He's literally on stage crying, talking
Makes me
about.
cry every time.
He's crying, and he's such a man's man energy, but then then in tears, it's like, and you can tell how brilliant he is. He spent his whole lifetime studying this stuff, and all he's done is create these products, put it into like a new school ethical network marketing model, which allows everyone to benefit from it. There's been network marketing models in the past that have been bastardized and used for crappy products and people promising you that you're going to make $1 bazillion with no work and things like that, and that's where sort of a negative connotation comes from it. But tied into something as well intended as this guy on stage crying about what's happened to us, where people are poisoning themselves with food and Roundup and glyphosate and things they know nothing about. And as he said in my before I interviewed, I don't think it's in the interview, but in episode 691, before we turned on the mic, I remember him saying, Brandon, I pay myself $10,000 a month. It's like he's got a company doing $50 million in business and he only pays himself $10,000 a month. Most good people at that level, I know because I've had some pretty big business success, are paying themselves millions of dollars if they're he's not paying himself any. That shows his intention. And so for me it was like there, and of course since he's the founder, it was like a reflection of that energy. I want to leave this planet better than I found it. I want the people helping to spread superfoods to be able to actually, help support themselves and have some financial sovereignty in the process. And here's the best model, that I know of to do it. And I agree with him as someone who started a company, on my friend's couch, and it grew to be an 569th fastest growing private company in the U.S. with no startup capital. It's like 1 in 10,000 entrepreneurs ever get to the level I did. And I did that with intention, understanding energy, how to manifest things. And it's like, so I do know a little something about business. And it is, this model used in the way it is very, very intelligent. And so seeing all these people, come together and supporting his cause, it was like a reflection of him. And of course, he's not the only founder. There's also Amy Venner as well, who
the Million Mom movement.
Yeah. And so her whole angle is like wanting to help 1 million moms to create healing with their child. Like I was given like Cocoa Puffs and Pop-Tarts. Like my grandmother, my mom, they didn't realize they were like poisoning my system,
It's actually crazy. Like the highest glyphosate, like when we're talking Roundup and glyphosate, what they're putting on, Roundup ready corn, soy, cotton, etc.
To kill the weeds.
To kill the weeds. These genetically modified organisms, 0.05 parts per billion is what they consider safe. 200 parts per billion or some odd is in Cheerios. Wow. So that basic food that I would say probably 80% of children are raised on, that they give out at, restaurants as like a snack for kids, is one of the most toxic substances that we could possibly give these children. Wow. That are like going to go in and automatically start damaging their like microbiome, which is so important for immune health, neurotransmitter. It produces 80% of the serotonin, not to mention our nutrient absorption.
Right.
And so these children are also being born with glyphosate in their umbilical cords. It's in the semen of men.
And everyone they've tested,
everyone
has glyphosate.
Has it.
Yeah, which it kills the gut biome essentially, which is all your health starts. That's one of the things I really wish I could have seen Dave talk about all the different products and his perspective on health and wellness for like 12 hours or something, because you could tell. I saw him in the elevator afterwards, actually, and I talked to him for a bit. And he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to just do something where I just I get up on stage for like 48 hours and just talk about everything that I know all at once. And I'm like, would you please? Please give me all this wisdom, because there's so much I know I can actually trust the source.
Absolutely.
And so it was, it felt like the first day of summer camp of people that are coming together to proliferate healing on the planet, to also create financial sovereignty for themselves. And, I walked away and you guys know we did the transformation, the positive head transformation. Over 100 people have done it at this point. Like Ian was there. One of the guys, he lost over 40 pounds with the 40-day. He looks amazing.
So good.
I had Isabella was another P head that showed up. She just messaged me a minute ago. She just flew back to Florida and she wrote, Brandon, I'll just go ahead and read it. Brandon, thank you so much for everything. This experience has been an absolute dream come true. You're an infinite source of inspiration and love. I'm so ecstatic to be partnered with you via Purium and our shared mission to elevate consciousness and heal our Mama Gaia. Blessings on blessings on blessings. And like she just sent me that right before we turned on the mic here. She's at the airport leaving. Oh, she's so beautiful. And it's like, imagine like 1,000 people like that or 800 or 1,000 people. It's still this baby incubator though. Like a $50 million company, that's still a baby company. Like, so what essentially I walked away with this, guys and gals and extraterrestrials out there listening, is that I have to do what I can to help make this thing. I mean, I've already partnered the podcast with it. We've already done the 40-day transformation, which I recommend all of you doing. I'm taking the core for it every day since, well, I've missed some days, but my intention essentially is to take it daily for the rest of my life. And you guys can learn more about this if you go to, I won't go into all that. There's so much information, but, what I've decided I have to do after walking away from this, I saw these people like Isabella, who I just read that text message, and Ian, who, is amazing, is working so hard. He's trying to figure out how can I use this to help, make myself financially sovereign, right? Because that's what network marketing allows people to do. And he's seeing all these people, you're seeing all these people on stage that are doing it. Young people making big money, right? But so being someone who's really good at the business stuff, I was like, okay, I have to take a more active role in trying to help anyone out there, any P heads that really want to be a part of this. Like, how can I use my own sort of maybe genius is an overstatement, but my own talent for business to help Isabella, to help Ian, to help any of you out there listening who would want to be a part of this movement. And I see this thing is, I already know it's going to be like massive. It's going to help. It's going to be a major ripple on the planet. I feel it in every cell of my being. So what I've decided to do, Ima, is create another Facebook group, because we don't want to overrun Positive Heads, which, by the way, if you're not on Positive Heads, that's our Facebook group, our private group where listeners are connecting and sharing and so juicy, and it's private, so you can open up and get personal and things like that. But I don't want to overrun that group with people who aren't interested in this, because obviously this isn't for everyone, right? So I've decided to create another group. That's a linked group, the Positive Plant Posse. And so what we're going to do there, anyone who wants to just learn more about the foods, we're going to have constant, regular insights into food, health, wellness, healing, new studies, stuff that's Purium related. You'll see that. So it allows you to kind of peek in to Purium people's experiences. Maybe you just want to take the products and not have anything to do with the actual, becoming a brand partner and, monetize it anyway. That's perfectly fine. But you can peek in, you will see into other people's experiences and things like that. And of course, I think it would make sense to probably do like the transformation that I went through, that like Ian went through and 100 plus other PEDs have went through at this point. Doing those regularly, like maybe monthly, and anyone who wants to jump on board, this is the Positive Plant Posse Facebook group is a great place where you can sort of, especially during the 10-day portion of the transformation, when you're eating very little and it's mostly just having these shakes and the cleanser and all of that stuff. So we'll be there'll be support for that there, and just health, wellness in general, because I truly do believe, guys, this health part, this getting your physical health in alignment with your spiritual health is just as important. It's mind, body, spirit, right? It's all the things. Get your mind clear, your body clear, your spirit, tapped into your higher self. These are all things that we have to do if we want to become the greatest and grandest version of ourselves. And here's, quite frankly, not once again, and if you don't know a lot about network marketing, if you go to positivehead.com/transformation, you can learn more. I did a whole video on it. I won't go into all the details of how it works, but here's the thing. Some people will take this and run with it and are going to make a lot of money. And I want to be there as a leader to help and use my business expertise, that I have and creativity to help make that happen. There's so many people who've written, and I'm stuck in my job. This is a path. This is like Tony Robbins, one of the biggest business guru, like my friend who has a $10 million house on, Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, one of my best friends. He goes to all of Tony Robbins' business mastery classes. And what Tony talks about is if someone comes to him and says, should I start a business now? One of the things he says is don't. Yeah. It's too hard. There's too many. It's very few that get to where I got. 1 in 10,000 entrepreneurs get as successful as I have achieved through starting my own business. And it's like, he said, what I would do is find a network marketing company with really good products, really good intention, really good commission plan. All the software's there, all the accounting's there, all the marketing. You don't have to. It's a business in a box. It's like hardly any. $100 to join. It's like I've raised millions of dollars for businesses in the past. So it's. I really want to help any of you who want to do this. That's what I want to do. And some of you are going to become, some of you will probably become wealthy. Not most of you, that's for sure, because you won't work it, and that's fine. You won't take that full journey. Some of you will make a few $1,000s a month if you become a brand partner. Some of you will make a few $100 a month. Some of you will just get healed with Superfoods permanently because you keep taking these amazing magical products, right? And some will just take stuff for a month and then never take it again. No one loses in that whole equation, right? That's what I love about that. I'm literally going to keep some people, help create some people to become very wealthy, probably a select few. I don't know if it's you. One of you listening right now is like, me. Hey, it's always a choice. You'll get out of it what you put in, right? And some of you will make a little something. Some of you will just take foods that help heal your body and heal your family's body. And win. There is no loser in that equation. And that's why I am sort of stepping up and going to take a more active role leading my team to help anyone who says, Brandon, help me to create financial sovereignty. I believe in this. I believe you're the person who can help point the way, and I'm going to do my very best with EMA support and Tala's, and that's the whole thing. It's like such a collective of support because everyone benefits from what you do, right? Yeah,
absolutely. And one of the things too that came through for me for this weekend is, I've been working and doing like other coaching and also doing masterminds, and I'm involved in like $10,000 a year mastermind and things like that. And what I've been noticing is that the level of training, the level of coaching, the level of personal development that we have in Purium is equal, if not better than what I'm receiving in some of my other masterminds.
But you're paying a ton of money to get access to.
Where you're paying a ton of money to get access to. Whereas like right now,
because there's nonstop Zoom calls and there's this huge support system to help you to be successful. Huge
support systems. And one of the things that I found too, like one of my big takeaways is like how I want to also be focusing more on my team and activating my Purium. Like, I have incredible multidimensional activation skills. Mm-hmm. I have incredible skills of like spiritually helping people come into like their avatar selves. And what I found with this weekend is that I've been able to be seen so much more fully and step fully into that space with my team and with our collective team, not just our downline, but also our sidelines under Wild Vitality, and just like be able to really activate people so fully and thoroughly into being able to step into receiving those wealth programs, like those the wealth mindset and also the health mindset and just like
abundance mindset, realizing you are abundant
in all ways, in every way is possible, and just like helping melt away all of those limiting beliefs that are stepping in our way of full realization of that abundance and like full spectrum like wealth from the universe, not just monetary.
Right. And I mean, there, all types of abundance, but it was so inspiring to see, 25-year-olds on stage who are making $20,000 a month and have been at it a year, and how did they do it? Did they go rip people off and harm people? No, they took the best delivery system of organic superfoods that the planet has ever known, to deliver it from the farm that has been specifically chosen because it's so high vibe and there's not a bunch of nuclear waste nearby or whatever.
100 miles from
100 miles from any kind of industry. Then those plants are basically dehydrated at room temperature at that farm. Then it's turned into a powder and shipped straight to your door, and it in this shake that tastes amazing. That's just one of the products, and it's like it's for someone who's as busy as I am, because one of my reluctance to even step forward and say, okay guys, I'm going to help you be successful doing this, if you really want to do this, is because I have so much else going on. I have a travel company that's absolutely blowing up right now. We're moving into a brand new office September 1st because so much growth is happening. Like, there's abundance just pouring out of me from every angle. But I have to do this, Ema, because I know how many lives I can help change. And I believe after this convention, I feel so strongly about the mission and the intention. Every person in that room that I bumped up against, it was like family. It was like, wow, I feel like I'm at a festival, but with a health angle, and people are monetizing, but from a really solid intention, and really in a very ethical way, without, it's not salesy and cheesy and like dirty feeling. Like, it's the future.
For me, it's like utmost integrity.
Yeah.
I said this a bunch of times, is like, I have this concept of my forever people. They're people that I meet and I instantly fall in love with, because I know on a soul level I've loved them forever and I will love them for always. They are part of my soul family, and I know that we have incarnated many times together to be able to like bring new consciousness to the world. And this is no different. I showed up, and our team is growing all the time. I've been in for a year now, and I've been to 4 of 5 live events that we have yearly, and our team has grown every single one. And so I showed up, and now we had 70 people, and I'm just like, oh my God, I was overwhelmed with how many forever people I met on this team, and just like super in love with. And not only that, but like our collective vision is like, what happens when we get wealthy? Does anybody really need $20,000 to live on every month? No, not really. So what can we do with that money? How can we take this abundance and help and put it towards the good of the world? And so Tala, who's our leader, he's like, of Wild Vitality, he has the dream, and I share this dream of building a collective of philanthropists.
I like to say Marcangelo Coppola's word, which is philanthropreneurs.
Yeah, philanthropreneurs, right? And collecting us all, and like even taking like, say, half of what we make every month, putting it into trust so we can help protect sacred land, so we can, for me, one of my biggest dreams is like, I want to have human rights and like family lawyers on retainer to be able to help people that are in abusive relationships and their families come to find freedom, find sovereignty, find support, and like having arts programs for minority groups and like kids who are like, not in a privileged position, to be able to like have access to some of the things that the people in more privileged positions in our world have easy access to. Giving is a great equalizer.
Yeah,
it's like it's the great equalizer for our world, and this is what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah. It's like the cashier at Amazon, at Whole Foods, is not likely to become the CEO, right? With this, you could step in. It's $100 to do it. As someone who's spent millions building businesses, that blows my mind. And it's like, and you can become the most successful person in the organization, making I talked to tons of people who are making $30,000-$40,000 a month this last weekend, and they're just like, helping people to heal themselves with plants. It's like, okay, that's pretty good. I feel good about that. It's something you can look in the mirror and feel really, really good about that. So yeah, guys, winding down here. If you want to ask, Ian, in the Facebook group, Ian, EAN Trees, he's the one that lost 40 pounds on the 40-day transformation. He's looking amazing. He's also decided to become a brand partner, like we're talking about. Isabella Krasnoski, Krasnosky, is also in the group if you want to talk to her about her experience at the convention. Just someone else, another P-head or whatever. She came out from Florida for it, and you heard kind of her feedback already when I read the message she just sent me. But, feel free to reach out to them. I know they'd be very open to chatting with you about their experience. I recommend all of you guys to just start using the products, like, is the most important thing. In, the brand partner thing, if you feel really inspired, great, jump into that. But otherwise, just see for yourself, that you really, really love these products. And you can learn more about that at positivehead.com/transformation. If you just want to go buy anything now, you can go to iShopPurium.com and use the code POSITIVEHEAD, all one word. But I definitely recommend checking out everything on the Positive Head transformation page. It's going to give you even more info into this, both the products and the brand partner part of it. If you want to create a passive income stream, that takes work. No one's going to have a jet plane for signing up. Like, most people that sign up, if they do, are probably not going to be on that stage making, hey, here's my story of how I made 30 grand a month now. But there are going to be some of you out there. There is people that are hearing this that are going to become millionaires from this. And I'm happy about that. And I'm happy to be speaking to you. And I'm happy to be an avenue that abundance will flow into your life through this podcast. And so yeah, this is obviously you can hear my enthusiasm, excitement about it. I hope you are as well. And at the very least, look at getting the 40-day ultimate nutrition plan has the core 4 products. I'm taking those personally every day for the rest of my life. Take the money that it costs to buy those. You get 25% off with the code POSITIVEHEAD, and then see whatever it would cost you. Do you know what it costs, Ema, to take the core 4 for?
It's about $6 a day.
$6 a day. Okay. So now $6 a day.
Is my coffee.
$6 a day. Okay. So take that money for a month and say, okay, that's $180 a person for 30 days. Now, where can I subtract $180 that I'm spending on McDonald's, on Starbucks, on, Baskin Robbins, on whatever it is that is not healing? And, one of the women that got on stage, her mom was a big part of Purium, and I'll wrap it up with this. It was a very emotional delivery because her mom recently passed, and she read the last text message from her mom. And she was saying, and it was really touching. And one of the things that her mom would say is, every choice you make with food is either life supporting or life detracting, right? Something to that effect. Like, so that was like the last thing she was saying to her. She was on her deathbed. Make that choice wisely. So what I'm challenging each of you to do is say, okay, that $180 a month, where can I not spend more money, but actually swap out the $180 that I'm already spending and use this core 4 product each day. And let that be a step you take towards the next greatest and grandest version of yourself. It's what I'm doing, and it has truly been transformational for me, and I know it will for you too. With that being said, Ema, anything that you want to add?
I just, for all of our listeners, because I know they're very connected to source and wanting to move into that, I found that these products, on an individual level, from my personal story, helped me go from being super burnt out after a festival season of setting up a 10 by 20 temple setup and doing energy healing and having to take granny naps on the side of the road to being able to run 8 programs a month through my temple space.
Wow.
And being able to hold that space every single day to an infinitely higher potential than I ever was before.
Wow.
And so for anybody who's super serious about really anchoring that highest vibration possible, I would say that this is probably the most accessible, most cost-effective, and most integral system that you could use to help amplify your own unique vibrational space. That's like an exciting, almost like a 1-2 punch, because you're not only just detracting away from the life depleting things, but you're also adding in all of that powerful life supporting things.
Right,
so you're not just adding in goodness, but you're adding in goodness while taking away the things that are already taking away from your life.
Yeah.
So it's it's a double whammy of goodness.
Exponential growth.
Yes.
Health and wellness. Beautiful. I love that. So yeah, and one last thing. I'm so excited. I really didn't expect it to go quite this much excitement on this, but it is what it is. It's what's meant to come through. And you can hear the authenticity of it all. But Yeah, so I mean, it's it's one of those things. I have so much on my plate, but I have to. I feel so called to help any of you who really are looking to do something with your life and to create a different way of supporting yourself and using my business savvy to do that. I mean, essentially, it's like who here wants to go into business with me? Who wants to be business partners with me? Where my intention and aim is to support you in your success. And that feels really, really good to think about doing with all of you. And as much as we've covered, we haven't covered it all. There's a lot more in those videos on the Positive Ed site. But if you just have direct questions that aren't addressed, something, you're curious about, didn't understand, what have you, you can email us, purium@positivehead.com. Purium. And that way I know it's a question related to Purium, and we'll get back to you. Definitely also link up on Positive Plant Posse, the brand new Facebook group where we're going to be sharing all kinds of health, wellness stuff, Purium related stuff as well. And I'm going to just have my presence there to help anyone who wants to do the brand partners part of things as well. So for those of you who are like, I'm not sure, I'm going to start with the, using the products and see how that goes. And maybe I'll go down this, monetization, passive income stream thing. And you can peek in at what other people's experiences are, ask them, how's it going for you? That kind of thing. So it allows you to voyeur a little bit as well. So, and that's Positive Plant Posse. And I look forward to connecting with you all there. This has been really, really inspiring. And speaking of inspiring, I have a track that I want to leave you with that I feel like is really appropriate. One of my favorite artists, I really love Nerio, who you know as well.
Oh, yeah.
And let me spell it out because I know some of you are going to be emailing me afterwards like, who was that artist? How do I find her? I don't know what that name was because it's a weird name when you just hear it, or just hard to remember. Not weird, it's beautiful, but, spelling-wise, maybe a little challenging. So it's Ayla is her first name, and Nereo is the last name. And this is the song Whispers, which actually someone performed or we played at one of our groups.
Yeah, so on the Wednesday, kind of as a pre-convention, we actually had a really rad ceremony / party / group bonding experience. Plant honoring ceremony at Brandon's house.
Yeah, it was
here
epic.
in Costa Mesa.
70 people fit here. I don't know how, but
magic.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a plant honoring ceremony that I helped orchestrate. And one of the things that we did is we first talked about the plant allies and, spirulina, wheatgrass. Some of these plants have been around, especially the spirulina. They're grandmothers. Grandmother
billions
plant
of years old.
Billions of years old. That their explicit intention for being on this earth right now is to help us be able to become these superhumans. I totally believe that. And we are working in allyship with these plant spirits. We are stewards of this plant spirit medicine. And, it's really easy to take a look at, the shakes as these buckets of powder or whatever.
Yeah. It's like living energy that...
But just as much as say mushrooms or...
Yeah. Totally. There's a spirit that animates that plant, that life form, just like there's a spirit that animates your life form.
Exactly.
And it has a mission and an aim and an intention. And we're literally, it was a beautiful ceremony to call that in, call in those energies.
And as we brought in the jar full of power shake and had it in the middle, and we were meditating on our relationship to these plant spirits and how we wanted to show up for them more. And we listened to this song, Whispers, Ayla Nerio.
This is Whispers, Ayla Nerio. Hope you love it as much as I do. Thank you all so much. Until next time, journey well. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.
I am calling to you, husband. I am singing to you, redwood. Hear this song. Birch bark, weeping willow, dogwood, blooming moonlight, cedar, let it fall, fall away. Oak, you bore my body. Babe, I bade you open these vessels to receive your whispers. Tender breath keepers, givers of life to these lungs, may I open my ears and surrender. What will you tell me? How can I tend you? How can I tend to the ones who pour life through these lungs? Sorrow made of pain, drought of feeling, yet the rain can give us freedom, forest rain. But if we cut them, goes away. Help us open these vessels to receive your whispers. Tender breath keepers, givers of life to these lungs, may I open my ears and surrender. What will you tell me? How can I tend you? How can I tend to the ones who pour life through these lungs? You can soothe it by planting another of the same as the kind you've uprooted. Every ending a beginning if you choose it. For every one of us you've uprooted, you can soothe it by planting another of the same as the kind you've uprooted. Every ending a beginning if you choose it. You can soothe it if you choose it. To receive your whispers, tender breath keepers, givers of life to these lungs, may I open my ears and surrender. What will you tell us? How can we tend you? How can we tend to the ones who pour life through these lungs? Who pour life through these lungs?